Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Game Time YouTube channel. My name is Joe, and I am your host. K-State football post-game analysis of the game from this Saturday versus TCU in Manhattan. K-State gets the big win, big blowout win. All right, winning by the final score of 41-3, moving K-State to 3-1 in Big 12 play and 5-2 overall. So it was good to see K-State back at home, all right, after a two-game stretch being away from Manhattan, now riding this two-game winning streak, all right, one versus Texas Tech and this other one this week versus TCU. K-State is really primed to make a run at another Big 12 championship. In this game, we saw the offense put on a show, and much credit goes to the offensive coordinator, Colin Klein, for how the offensive plan for this game was put together. And to be honest, I think this plan was perfect. It was played to perfection. Okay. For one, we had this question going into this game of who the starting quarterback would be. All right. We got a freshman, redshirt freshman coming in, Avery Johnson. And, we've got our senior quarterback, Will Howard, and keeping this question, throughout the week was an excellent strategy. Okay. This puts tremendous pressure on the TCU defense to prepare for, one, the other, or both quarterbacks within a course of a week, which is very difficult to do. Then when the game starts, all right, so who's the starter of the game? Question mark. It's both of them. Both of them end up starting. All right. Will Howard comes in at quarterback with Avery Johnson at slot receiver. And the first play of the game is a handoff to Avery Johnson. Okay. Once again, throwing another wrinkle at the TCU defense and, keeping them questioning. All right. Who's going to play? Which quarterback, do we need to deal with today? Throughout the day, there was never an answer. Really, the answer was both. Okay, because throughout the game, they basically traded possession. So both quarterbacks played in this game. Really, really good game plan by this offense. Then to make things more difficult for the TCU defense, Will Howard starts the game with some big quarterback runs. Okay, the quarterback that one would like to prepare to stop the pass game for, okay, is now running the ball, all right, in the first series. So even more confusion for this TCU defense. It really took them by surprise, I think, and I think that's why we saw the offense really click in the first quarter. TCU didn't really know what to do with both quarterbacks, and I'm sure the preparation was very difficult. And, that kind of played into the score that we saw. Eventually, the game actually, played out like you might expect. While both quarterbacks played, Will Howard threw more passes. Okay, so he went 10 of 16 for 154 yards and 3 touchdowns. Then Avery Johnson, ran the ball more, right? Okay, so he was 16 carries for 73 yards. Okay, so they both ran the ball pretty well. Avery Johnson, 73 yards. Will Howard, 4 carries for 62 yards. So I think that was a testament to how we started the game with Will Howard, the passing quarterback, running the ball. I think that totally threw off TCU, and we were able to get big yardage on that first drive of the game and, led to the touchdown to start the game. And I think the offense just rolled from there. We saw a strong running game in this game, throughout between the quarterbacks and the running backs. And again, I think what we're seeing is this offense is really a run heavy offense. I think that's what we're seeing, and that's what we're gonna see throughout the course of this year, unless something prolific happens in the receiving core. I think this is what we're going to expect. We're going to see a heavy dose of the running game. 26 pass attempts in this game, 52 rushing attempts. So I think that's the recipe for success with this offense, is just a heavy dose of the running game. Trayshawn Ward and DJ Giddens combined, for 174 yards rushing with 26 carries. Okay. Ward gets 17 carries, DJ gets 9, and they're both, mid 80 as far as yardage goes. So that's a really, really good day. If I like to combine the two, because really they're two running backs, but we're using them as one. All right. So 26 carries, 174 yards between the running backs. That's strong. And then when you add the rushing game for the quarterbacks, okay, between the two of them, between Avery Johnson and Will Howard, they get 20 carries for 135 yards. Okay. So rushing attack is strong. And, I think that's what we're leaning on right now. And that's what we're seeing. Strong rushing game. Okay. So some stats here. Total yardage, K-State almost gets 600 yards. Okay, 587 yards of total offense for K-State in this game. TCU gets 300. So really a blowout here. K-State really put it to TCU in this game. I don't know if we really expected this type of performance. Time of possession, K-State dominated 38 minutes, 50 seconds time of possession, while TCU had it 21 minutes and 10 seconds. So, again, with this running game, I think once you get that running game going, you're going to dominate time of possession. Okay. It takes a lot longer to rush the ball than it does to pass the ball. And, that's a telltale sign that the team is running the ball well and keeping a hold of the ball and just, scoring touchdowns is what you want to do. And this game just kind of got out of control pretty quickly for TCU. Another stat here, third down efficiency. K-State 10 of 13 on third downs. So they're getting there, getting those first downs at an efficient level, okay, from the third down. And TCU gets 2 of 13, okay, for third down efficiency. So defense really played well today. Really played well. The offense is probably getting the credit because of the number of points that were scored, but the defense played well. I think we saw a lot more pressure from the defensive line. We got an interception. Desmond Purnell gets an interception in the third quarter. And, I think, we saw a lot fewer big plays come from TCU. And TCU is somewhat of a high octane offense. Okay. They're averaging over, almost somewhere around 440 to 450 yards a game in total offense. And this defense was able to keep them, 300 yards, over 100 yards less than their average. Really, really good defensive game. Got a couple sacks in there this game as well. I'd mentioned in the last review of the last game, I really wanted to see more pressure from the defensive line. And I think we saw that. So I'm very happy with the results of this game as far as how the defense played. Very good game by the defense. Our receivers are still kind of, behind the 8 ball on performance, but we did see freshman receiver Jace Brown stepped up pretty nicely in this game. Okay, 4 receptions for 88 yards and a touchdown. So he made some nice catches in this game. And, I'm really hoping that he can fill some of those holes at wide receiver. Young guy is a freshman. So, hopefully we can see him develop into a deep threat or at least just, anything other than Phillip Brooks and Ben Sinnott. Okay, we need another guy to really step up in the passing game. And, I'm hoping that Jace Brown will bring, more to that core of receivers. Hopefully he can be consistent and we can see him do more in games coming up. Tight end Will Swanson stepped up. He played pretty well this game. Just 2 receptions for 22 yards, but he got a touchdown. That was pretty nice. It looks like Ben Sinnott might be injured. Okay. He got injured in the first half of this game and didn't play the second half at all, I don't think. So, we'll see throughout this week to see, how coaches comment on how, how hurt he is. Hopefully it's not bad. I think we really, really need Ben Sinnott as a part of this offense. He does a lot for this offense. So, tight end Will Swanson stepped in and played admirably. But I think we're going to need Ben Sinnott in there. So hopefully we can see him back soon. TCU passing game, like I said, the defense really stepped up. Passing game for TCU, just 23 of 43 for 187 yards by their quarterback, Josh Hoover, 0 touchdowns, obviously, and the 1 interception. So the secondary really stepped it up, and I think that defensive line really, really stepped it up and slowed down their passing attack. TCU's fast. They've got a really fast-paced offense. They're running plays at a high click. Just no time in between. They're just trying to run a lot of plays, and they're trying to run plays fast. And I think K-State did a really good job of that. Staying ready and being ready when the plays were run, not finding themselves out of position, which can really happen with those fast-paced offenses. Top receiver for them was Savion Williams, 4 receptions for just 60 yards. They really didn't get much going in the passing game. Hoover did spread the ball around quite a bit. 4 receivers with at least 3 receptions, 6 receivers with at least 2, but not very many big plays. So K-State really did a good job of shutting down that passing attack. Their rushing attack, they had 100 yards by Amani Bailey on 12 carries. So he was probably one of the bright spots for their offense because that's a pretty good numbers there. Just not really enough. K-State was able to keep him out of the end zone. So really, really big game by the defense, and hopefully that continues going forward. Okay, so next game. Okay, we got Houston coming into Manhattan coming up this Saturday at 12 p.m. In Manhattan. So Houston Cougars, they're not looking good this year, near the bottom of the Big 12. But again, it's their first year in the Big 12. So, culture shock, they're trying to get in there and get a win, but, we'll see how they play. They're 1-3 in conference play right now. They've beaten West Virginia, but they've got losses to TCU, Texas Tech, and Texas. And they just played Texas pretty close this week. Lost to them 31-24. But they were up in the fourth quarter, and Texas needed a comeback to win. So they're going to be ready to play. They're looking for, upsets, and they're looking to surprise some people. So K-State's really going to need to be ready to play this game. People could call it a trap game, all right, because the following week, all right, we've got Texas in Texas. So, just be ready to play, get the win, and let's get this done. 3-1 in the conference right now. Still kind of sitting at that 1 loss, log jam there near the top of the Big 12 standings with other teams, and still in the hunt for the Big 12 title game. Okay, still in the hunt. K-State can control their own destiny. They can. Okay, kind of would like to see Oklahoma State drop one, get them out of there. They're looking strong right now. They're winning games in the Big 12 after starting slow in the non-conference. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. But if K-State can just keep winning games, I think that's the strategy. And I think, I really like this 2-quarterback system that we've got going. If the egos can stay in check, and if guys can really, dial into, when I'm in the game, I'm ready to go. I think it's going to play out well. Keep in mind, especially since we're going with this running game scheme, with the offense, we're running the quarterbacks quite a bit. And that's a lot of physical, for these guys. And it's kind of good to have 2 quarterbacks that can really play at a high level. Okay, these guys are running the ball. Just the physical nature of that. You really don't want to get these guys hurt. Okay, it's a long season, it's a physical game, and it can really work to our advantage to keep these guys fresh and, ready to go each game, not having them play the entire game and every snap. I think it also works well because, same thing with our running backs. Okay, we've got Ward, we've got Giddens. Neither of those guys is expected to take the full load of a game. Okay, keeps them, somewhat fresh physically. Okay. Hopefully helps to keep them from getting injured and getting, too banged up throughout the course of the season. And hopefully that helps us going forward later in the season when some teams may start to kind of fall off as far as just, injuries, soreness, just the physical load on the body begins to build up. Hopefully that helps us and to have an advantage having a couple of guys to kind of take that load throughout the course of the season. So, typically, you don't really see that from the quarterback position. But again, given that we're running the ball a lot with the quarterback, I think it's nice to see that two guys are able to take on that load. And I think it's going to reap benefits for this team physically as this season progresses. So, all right, guys, thanks for listening. I appreciate it.